Ladies and gentlemen, as usual on my channel, I'm showing you footage of marine animals from the Philippines, but there seems to be something wrong here. So this is a school of juvenile pelagic fishes, but they seem to be swimming in a forest. So did this forest get flooded? Or is this some weird AI stuff where I prompted an algorithm to create fish swimming in a forest? No. What this is, these are mangroves. So if you have not spent much time in the tropics or subtropics, you might not be familiar with these. So mangroves are trees which can grow in the ocean. And this, of course, is a significant physiological challenge for every tree because a regular plant doesn't do very well in seawater. So these trees have to evolve mechanisms to get rid of that excess salt. Very interestingly, many mangrove trees form these very intricate networks of roots which are underwater during high tide and out of the water during low tide. And these roots are really what makes mangroves such an attractive ecosystem for small juvenile fishes. So before these guys will swim out into the ocean and feed more and reproduce, they have found a very good hiding place here among these mangrove trees. So besides the really interesting ecology, I think these roots are also very aesthetic. They really remind me of the artwork by famous late Swiss artist H.R. Giger, the guy who designed the alien character. Now, besides being so ecologically interesting for small fishes as kindergardens, mangroves also have a really interesting factor going for them in terms of storing excess carbon. So very often the mud below mangroves is anaerobic. There is no or not much oxygen. So when the plant material decays, it doesn't decay all the way to CO2, to carbon dioxide. But a large amount of carbon remains. It remains undigested by aerobic bacteria. So a healthy mangrove ecosystem can store the multiple of a terrestrial forest in excess carbon per square meter. So where are these beautiful mangroves, which I'm showing you here? These mangroves are on Danjugan Island, which is a small nature preserve in the Negros Occidental province of the Philippines. You can get there in about 2 hours from Bacolod or in about 4 hours from Dumaguete. And then you take a brief bunker ride and then you arrive on this paradise. So the Philippine Reef and Rainforest Foundation bought this island a few decades ago. So there's no village, there's no human habitation on this island other than a small eco-camp. So nature can really thrive and flourish in the absence of human intervention, how it should be. There are lots of little gems on Danjugan. So for instance, there is this rhesus dolphin skeleton mounted in the eco-camp. And there's a lot of good art. I think this is a fantastic mural. And you will always be visually stimulated on Danjugan, which really shows how the people who run this are in it with their hearts. Another thing which you will find in Danjugan is that a lot of the plants have signs pointing out the name, and that's both the name in, I guess, Visaya, or this is Negros Occidental, so Ilongo, and the Latin name, the scientific name, as well as the name in English. And then you can scan that too. So there's this QR code and you can learn more about these plants. So this is really useful for somebody like me who is more of a zoologist and doesn't have, the greatest taxonomic knowledge of tropical plants. So this is the toilet sign in Danjugan. So it shows a drawing of a pregnant seahorse. And of course, in seahorses, the males are pregnant. That's a really unique adaptation in these fishes. So this is the male toilet. And for everybody who is not a crick ichthyologist, it says male in writing below that. So, you know, very nerdy fish biologist joke on the toilet door. I like it. I couldn't film the fishing eagle. Please tell me about the white-bellied fishing eagle.
So the white-bellied seagull. Seagull. So the white-bellied seagull is a territorial kind of eagle. So after the baby know how to catch the fish, catch the snakes, so they live in the island.
Yeah. So there's a pair of them, right?
Yeah. So there's a couple of white-bellied seagull in the island.
And it's on that tree.
No,
No?
they are they already the tree that they lived before, so
Uh-huh.
they already down. It's because of the typhoon. No, that
Okay.
But they transfer another tree that's in Balete.
Okay, somewhere over there.
Yeah.
Well, you know, hopefully next time I'll be able to film that. So, if you have the chance, visit Danjugan. I wish there were more Danjugans in the Philippines and in the world, where nature is left to its own devices. And let's hope that Danjugan will stay as it is for many, many, many more years.